I have another project, another four-wheel project. It is the Disco 2, this time TD5. But unseen off eBay. Oh my god, don't do that, what are you doing? Well, if you can repair them, what the heck, I don't care, it doesn't matter. I'm not bothered what it takes. It was cheap. Bought it cheap with a suspected blown head gasket, which is no different to any other head gasket, other than there's a few bits and pieces plugged in and whatever. They say you don't skim them, or Land Rover say don't skim them. They probably said that similar thing to about the TDIs as well, and they've been skimmed. So if it's wrong, if it's right, whatever, I'm going to get it pressure tested and skimmed. If it proves to be a fault, now the buying guide suspect for the Disco 2 is very similar to the Disco 1. Disco 2, as you can see, I already started work on it. Very similar body to chassis mount, very similar. It's a case of, as you would expect, looking for rust, making sure everything works. They have a self-leveling bag system on the rear suspension, but a lot of people cut them off to put on springs. This has got springs on it, which is perfectly fine by me. I have no need to have it self-leveling unless I was either carrying loads and loads of weight, which obviously then helps, or you're doing a lot of towing, which I won't be, so it's irrelevant really. So it is a case of, big problem with these is, as far as I'm aware, or the main one, is the rear chassis. Now, not just the chassis mounts, but it's the at least quarter to a third of the actual rear part of the chassis that can go, and that takes you pretty much from the back bumper to just about the far side of the rear mount or spring mount. Now there is holes in this. It has been repaired. My plan is, scary, to get the chassis away from the body, take the engine off, leave it in the garage. Then I'm going to repair the chassis, get it shot blasted, and then galvanise it, which will go a long way to preserving it for the future, but also if it's ever for sale in the future, also it will go a long way to the buyer, obviously making me some money. Now I would suggest that when driving it, you drive it for a good 20 minutes, let everything heat up, let the thermostat open, give it some welly if needs be, just to give it a test. Test all the buttons, test everything inside, and failing that, you can't really go wrong. Now that if you're testing on a rainy day, that is probably not a bad thing, because the sunroofs on these can leak, and if they do leak, they make a mess inside. Now this is obviously, should show you mine. So this is a V-Reg 5-door Series 2, very similar. Obviously headlights much more improved as far as I'm concerned than the TDIs. Much nicer inside, lovely inside. I've gone for full leather all round, or should I say it happened to have full leather all round. It's got the rear seats, but it needs a good cleaning here, as you'd expect. all electric, and so far as I can see all works perfectly fine. That is not an advertisement, that is not from me, that is from whoever's had it before and they obviously didn't know what they're doing. Let's get rid of that. Into the front. Not abused, but at the same time not particularly looked after. Generally nice working condition, that's one thing I like about this. The armrests, got the few all LED bits and pieces, everything works, electric seats. Battery was a bit tired when it first arrived. Jumped it off another battery that had been sat in the garage for a long time, suspected knackered one off a twin 24 volt wagon. Got them both, thinking they might be alright, and it just fired up instantly, without a doubt. No worries there. Now, just a quick look at the engine. That's what a TD5 engine looks like. Most people will know if they're watching this, because they will have one, or at least have some background information on them, because they're planning on getting one. Same things as any other engine to watch out for: major oil leaks, major water leaks, anything that doesn't look right. These are electronic injection. So that's your inlet to the injectors, and then you've got an electric injector loom there. Wires come off it onto each injector. Obviously 5 cylinders, hence a TD5. Now what you need to check on these is, see if you've got any oil coming out of or on that loom, which there is a little bit there. That means the seals in here are leaking and the loom needs replacing. Loom, I think about 30 quid. Nothing major. However, the oil can get its way back to ECU that can clog up with oil and cause all sorts of problems. So that needs stripping down, cleaning out, at the same time as the loom change. On top of that, the oil can get up to the air sensor, which then cause problems there, and cause you go into limp mode, which you do not want, especially if you're a long way from home, crying home at like 20 miles an hour, whatever it is, 30 miles an hour. Chain drive. Whoa, chain drive. The reason why I'm happy about a chain drive, or partly the reason why I've chosen to go with the chain drive and the TD5, is the hassle of changing the TDIs, or buying a TDI without a service history or any history, not knowing what's going on. You've got to instantly get in there and get that belt changed, or at least checked. Chain drive, they have automatic adjusters on them, which obviously keeps up the slack and avoids the wear and tear. The turbo, again, I like the position of the turbo on top here rather than tucked underneath, so you can get access to into everything. This is obviously ABS and aircon, so you've got extra radiator. Not a bad size intercooler, but I think I'm going to be changing that for a bigger one eventually. Aluminium radiator, but that's standard. There's probably loads of other things I'm thinking about, or I should mention. I can't particularly think, but that is my new project. Smarter than the Series 1, if jobs are done properly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out anything that isn't in use, isn't needed. Anything that isn't needed. And that is plastic covers, bolt-on brackets, you know, anything that either adds weight or just adds to confusion of anything that might go wrong inside. any components or anything that's bolted on that might rust, and you think, well, it's bolted on in the first place, get it taken off. These have under covers. The engine cover is it's all covered up underneath there. Well, what is the point in that? If you're going to do anything that includes getting any water on that engine or anything like that, then all it's going to do is run down and sit and get soaked up with the pad that's actually on the cover, and it's there particularly for soundproofing, but it's going to do more harm than good if it's just going to be sat in oil and water, because you ain't necessarily going to know what's going to go on under there. So that is not going to go back on. If you want to protect it, get yourself a front guard. So that's the bottom of the TD5 engine. It's clean, but I'll give it another clean once it's done. But that axle will be coming out, so will the back one, and so obviously is the chassis. So going from there, I hope you've enjoyed it. Giving you a little bit of information. I've only just bought it myself. The tyres are nice and wide. The ride on these is immense compared to the TDIs, soundproofing and everything else, and comfort. It looks like going from underneath that the anti-roll bars have been chunked up massively. However, on the TDI that I did previous to this, I had semi-decent firm suspension, got rid of any anti-roll bar, and it handled really, really well. I mean, you could throw it around corners and it got next to no body roll at all. And that was all, on all my Emu plus 1.5s, I think they are, rather than 2s. Springs with terra firma shocks, and it handled really, really well. That had even a 4-inch lift. It had a 2-inch body lift and a 2-inch suspension lift, and it still did not roll. What my plans are for this in relation to lifting yet, I do not know. I'm weighing up both, weighing up suspension and weighing up the body. I've always praised the body lift in the past because of the access it gives you to maintain and modify anything between that actually sits between the body and the chassis, because of the extra space it gives you. It's worth the hassle of the extra brackets, bits and pieces, but that's irrelevant. So that is pretty much it. I could probably waffle on for ages, but that's the TD5 I'm looking at. It looks exactly the same colour, full enough, as the TDI. Colour code, I'm not sure. I've got a can of spray paint from the old one, so if anything needs touching up, the chances are I'll just use it and see how it filters in. Fettle it if needs be. And on top of that, I think that's it for the introduction. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you look forward to the rest of the TD5 videos I'm going to be making. Hope you're enjoying the TDI ones I've made, and also the Phaser FZ1 that I'm on with as well, which is my bike for the summer. And look forward to seeing you in the next vid, which won't be too far away. It's a good one, away you go. So that's another video finished, and I hope you enjoyed it.